Hey everybody, it's me, Dash Ireland, and you are tuning in to another episode of the podcast known as Dash's Call. And like I said, I am trying to veer away from politics, so I'm getting to a little more personal stuff because I already told you about the episode dealing with one of my friends from high school who was diagnosed with cancer. Haven't heard many updates, but he's doing fairly well, so it's good to know that he's keeping his faith alive while this is all going on. We're all keeping him in our thoughts and prayers. So there's that. Um, so this one's a little bit personal for me. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm obsessed with Shinedown. I've always been that way. Well, not always. I've been this way since 2015, and the main reason why I've had this obsession is because it's a personal bond, really. It's a personal connection I have to music. I've always had a really deep connection to music because I've been involved in music for such a long time. I've been singing ever since I could talk. And I didn't talk till I was 4 years old. Um, like, I started playing saxophone around age 9, so I've been playing for well over 10 years. And I had been pretty advanced. And technically, since I can play a saxophone, I can play a flute. I've also been known to play piano. I can play bass. I can play guitar, of course. So I'm a multi instrumentalist. But I've always been known to get really into bands. Um, I've always had a dream to form my own band. I'm still working on that, even though I've also got a lot of stuff that has kept me busy and whatnot, considering of my education and whatnot. Throughout middle school, I was a big fan of the Beatles. Like, there was that obsession, but whenever I think back on it, it makes me cringe a little. And then high school was really experimental with my taste in music. Like, I went back to really liking Green Day during my freshman year of high school, and it was okay. It was okay. Sophomore year, I kind of got into the Offspring a lot, and I have a renewed love for the Offspring. After all, I grew up with the Offspring basically. Self Esteem was the first ever Offspring song I ever heard, and that I've always loved and always will. Because their Smash album is great. Okay, it's one of their best albums, but we can't say it's the only great album because they've got other great albums like Splinter, Rise and Fall, Rage and Grace, Days Go By, Conspiracy One. Conspiracy One is fantastic. And then junior year of high school, I got into Foo Fighters and Red Hot Chili Peppers, which I'm not too big of a fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers because their lyrics sound a bit like nonsense, and it's just not me. I'm more of rock, and they're a little too soft for me. And Foo Fighters is one of my number one deals. But as you may know, and as you see my tattoos in previous videos, I'm big on Shinedown. And a lot of people, even in my family, are like, "You're probably going to regret getting those tattoos." I'm like, "No, I've got a personal connection to these tattoos. And 50 years down the line, I'm going to think back and remember why it I exactly got these tattoos." So there's always methods to madness. And it was in 2015, the spring of my junior year, right before my senior year of high school, I got into Shinedown because I had known Shinedown around 2008, 2009, but I didn't know what their name was exactly. All I remember is that my older brother, he got the Sound of Madness album. And this was during the days where I wasn't big on hard rock and whatnot. I know you're thinking, oh, Shinedown's not much of hard rock. I'm like, well, a lot of their music is hard rock, even though they're right now in the genre of just general rock and roll. Can't say generic, but I love their music. It's not generic, it's just rock and roll. Sure, not all their stuff is hard rock, but it's all rock. And I love it. And while my brother really liked the Sound of Madness one, I kind of got hooked on Second Chance like everybody else did. And that was that. And I had not listened to them again for a while. And I remember one time whenever my brother came home for leave one time because he used to serve in the Navy. Um, he actually did have one song. It was from their 2012 album Amaryllis, which was the song Bully. And I thought, maybe I should try giving them a listen, see what they sound like now. And so I really started listening to some stuff. I listened to some stuff from Amaryllis, Us and Them, and Sound of Madness, even from Leave a Whisper. And I really started getting into it, and I was like, I really like this. And it just provided an escape. I really did get hooked. And then, senior year, whenever Threat Survival came out, I was just really into it because I was just obsessed. And ever since then, I've had the same love for Shinedown as I've ever had. I mean, could be growing, but it's just a general love. And we all have our tastes in music, and I don't think they should be discriminated or anything. I mean, sure, I talk a lot of shit on pop music, but the thing is, my problem with pop music is how a lot of it is not even original, or how it's just not even made by the artist who's making it, or the artist just doesn't care just as long as they're making money. I mean, one example I can give is how similar the choreography is between Momoland's Boom Boom and Bam. And yes, I do listen to a bit of K-pop because I expand on my genres that I listen to. That and my cousin really kind of got me hooked on it. Lordy, help me. And there's been other times that there have been times where some pop artists rip off different metal and rock artists. And while they're, but we're here to talk about love for music, okay? And I remember back in high school, I had a lot of people picking on me for my music taste, which I think they were just doing that because they were getting a reaction out of me, which I can kind of see that now, so I forgive them. Plus, they kind of do tend to love Shinedown a little bit. It's just, I think they also got annoyed about how much I was obsessed with them in high school. But my freshman year of college, that was one where it was not out of trying to get a rise out of me, but it's because the person that I was living with in my dorm was a sociopath. Hell, he could have been born with it, so that would technically make him a psychopath. And he was a legitimate sociopath, and he would always put me down. So that can kind of be part of my connection to Shinedown because it provided me escape. I was able to put all my anger in with all the drive of the hard-hitting rock sounds of Shinedown. But there had been a lot of stuff I had to go through. Like, because my parents are divorced, which, whenever you get parents who are divorced at a young age, mine divorcing when I was 13, which, holy shit, it was like 7 years ago or something like that. Really gets to you, so it was about 4 years after that. No, 3 years maybe. I don't know. It's hard thinking back this long because I don't tend to think on days from many years ago. But I've had to deal with that divorce, and it's not something great, especially as the years go by, because things can just tend to get worse within the first 10 years of divorce. And then after that, things start to just flatline and just mellow out. Plus, I'm always one who stresses mental health awareness. Like, we should remove the stigma around mental illness and whatnot. We should not keep treating people with mental illness as people who are subhuman. We need to stop treating them as people who are faking it or can't get over it. Because everyone is different, but everyone is facing some kind of fight. And we tend to put more important so is people that have it in the more radical forms. Well, I shouldn't say radical, but in the more extreme cases that really does cause a lot of trouble. Maybe people with PTSD, where those with it most of the time have high suicide rates and whatnot. But I really stress mental health awareness because part of my love for Shinedown is because during my senior year of high school, I was going through some stuff because I was with this one girl that I had been in band with. And it wasn't the greatest of things. I mean, I should have seen red flags, but sometimes in my relationship history, I wasn't good with looking out for the red flags because I was just basically looking through rose-colored glasses and they just look like normal flags. And yes, I'm stealing a quote from BoJack Horseman because I actually like that show too. But anyways, and after that, it was quite a hard time, and I tuned out to some Shinedown. And then we get moving into senior year, to the end of senior year, and there's some stuff. And then during the summer, I just had this mess. It's just a total dumpster fire that my summer of 2016 was. And there's many things I'd gone through love, I'd gone through hurt, and I don't know what to do. And of course, there are going to be some of those songs that you listen to by Shinedown that are kind of like your love songs. Those songs that you have for older relationships and whatnot. You never know. But there's that, and it kind of plays out into other stuff with my future. Um, then we get into freshman year of college. What happened was I have to deal with a psychopathic roommate, and I have to deal with the stresses of academic work. But I managed to pull through, and I had the sounds of Shinedown. Because whenever I have some trouble, like if I'm about to have a meltdown, because like I said, I'm on the autism spectrum, or if I'm about to have a panic attack or something like that, I just pop in a Shinedown CD and I get listening to it. Um, yeah. And with the hard rock sounds, the ones that you can really put all your anger into, I use that as a device to calm my anger because I don't think there's any better way to get rid of my anger because music does soothe the savage beast. Because I never really had a great way of taking out anger because in my family, don't, we have some pretty bad anger. Like, I'm scared to death of what would happen if my grandfather ever got angry because a lot of those people where if you've never seen them get angry before, that's one way you can say don't tick them off. I've only seen my grandfather angry once, and I was scared to death. Like, that's scarier than any horror movie I'll ever see. My oldest brother, he definitely has a bad temperament. And so I would put my anger into that. But I do also have struggles with anxiety and depression. Like, I tend to be antisocial in public. When I'm around my friends, I could be the funny guy. I can be an asshole sometimes. But I'm trying to have fun. I can sometimes come off as selfish, but I'm trying not to be. It's just an accidental thing that happens. Like, nobody's perfect. We all have our flaws. And so I've struggled with depression a lot and a lot of anxiety. And like I said, I tend to be antisocial in public, and I'm not big of a fan of being around so many people who are loud and whatnot. So I just plug in earbuds and I get listening to music. It's mainly like Shinedown because Shinedown just instantly formed a connection with me. It's just the one thing that can calm me down because nothing else can really. I could be listening to Twice while also still being pretty angry. I could listen to Metallica, still be angry. I mean, Slipknot might help sometimes, but Shinedown is that one band that helps me. Um, with the depression, Like I said, I try to prevent any episodes like I could have BPD. I don't know. I'm not making fun of anyone who does have BPD, but I likely have it. And I got into an argument with my own mother about this whenever I was home for the holidays. And here's the thing. Just because you think you know a person doesn't mean you're the ultimate doctor of something just because you have it too. Like a lot of times, a person with autism can't tell when there's another person with autism. I mean, in many cases you can, but autism is an invisible disability, so you can't always tell if when you have autism or something like that. You can't always tell when it's always another person. But the thing is, you can't judge people. Like, it could be very much possible. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I would have to leave that in a psychologist's hands. And I've gone through that. Fast forward to sophomore year of college, which started at fall 2017. I had some stuff like I had a lot of panic attacks, like a lot, dealing with some old phobia of mine and just general anxiety. And I had Shinedown. But then shit hits the fan. It's October, and I split things off with this girl that I dated for 2 days. Oh my gosh, I don't even think I can count her as a girlfriend. Holy shit. And I had been talking to her for like 2 to 3 weeks beforehand. And there are many red flags there too. So I seem to attract girls with a lot of red flags. And it kind of drove me to a bit of having suicidal ideation. And it took the help of my friends in music to really get me back into place. And I've been slowly rebuilding afterwards. And then we fast forward to March of 2018 where the single Devil comes out. And ever since the release of Devil and the new album Attention, everything has been so much better. Like, everyone has a deal where they find a favorite band and there's just that one album that just helps them for their entire life. And I feel that way with the Attention album because I think I've listened to that album more than any other album in my collection. Like, I really do. Because usually I try to listen to a different album each time. But I think I've listened to Attention the most because it's helped me with meltdowns, panic attacks, and depressive episodes. And it's just been a general thing. So it definitely helped me. Even with all these exes I have and a really bad past that I seem to share, I've been on the mend. Plus, it's really occurred to me because I could possibly have a tendency to, like, want to drink, and I want to quit that. Like, I could do it in moderation. But I don't want to be that guy who just drinks to be miserable. I'm not that type of dude, and I don't want to be. I'm just that kind of person who just wants to drink in moderation and use it for times of enjoyment. You know? And it is kind of great when I have my best friends who also share an interest in Shinedown. Surely they're not as into it as I am, but I have my own deal. Like, I like Shinedown for my own reasons. They all have different things that they're really into. Like, my best friend, he's really into gaming, so that's what he's mainly into. His fiance, she's mainly into country stuff. My other best friend, who is also my cousin, she, I don't know, she's obsessed with death. I don't know what to say. I don't know, she's from the Arctic Circles of hell. And then my good friends in broad culture, they have some liking to Shinedown, but they do like to give me shit for liking the band. I mean, John likes them quite a bit, but not as much as 3 Days Grace. So basically, his love for 3 Days Grace is kind of like my love for Shinedown. We're both hoes towards our favorite bands. But John can understand where I'm coming from. So can Spencer and Hal. Hal has a love for comic book stuff. Spencer has a love for sports. We all have our different obsessions, and no one deserves to get legitimate shit for things they love. I think that if you put someone down for something they love, then you're an asshole. I know some people are going to say, then why don't you apply that to politics? That's politics. I don't hate anyone. I don't put anyone down because I've already been through enough bullying throughout school and whatnot. So I don't do that. I have my political beliefs. I tend to disagree with a lot of people, and it can be provocative. That doesn't mean I'm putting anybody down. Because I can care less about what other people do with their lives just as long as they don't try to shove shit in my face. That's my general rule. Because, like I said, I treat everyone with equity. Treat me with respect, I'll give you respect. Don't treat me with respect, I'm not going to talk to you. But, mainly Shinedown has kept me from the edge. It really has. There's been so many times where I had this ideation to self harm, but Shinedown was always there to keep me from doing that. And I don't want to boast that I don't self harm. I believe it's wrong to go saying that you don't self harm because then it kind of makes it come off as a bit cocky. And I could be sounding like a hypocrite right now. But I'm not necessarily any clearer because I still have those thoughts. And I do know what people who have self harmed before, I know what they're going through. And I try to sympathize with them. I try to have some empathy because everyone's got that fight inside that's a living hell. And I just think it's wrong for people to boast about either self-harming or not self-harming. A lot of people who have self-harmed, they don't boast. They hide it because there's always that stigma that people are going to make them feel ashamed of themselves. We're human. We can't help our flaws or things that we have done. It it happens. I'm not saying it's good or should be condoned. I just feel that we should always help each other no matter what. We should always try to keep a helping hand and whatnot. That's kind of part of the Christian ideology. I know I'm saying I'm a Christian again, even though I curse all over the place. I'm flawed, and I curse a lot because it's just a habit that's grown out of West Virginia stuff and like from my family because my oldest brother would curse all over the place. But yeah, Shinedown has been that one place, and I've always gotten I've been getting tattoos since I was 17 years old, and I don't have much right now, but I'm trying to expand. But each one has had a specific meaning. Like my first one I got with my two older brothers, and that was signify how we're brothers. Whatnot. It was a Celtic knot. The Celtic cross is just a traditionary thing between me and my brothers, almost like a rite of passage, almost. And that's just symbolize our heritage and faith. But I have two Shinedown tattoos to signify other things. Like the first one, which is just the name Shinedown going down my left forearm. That one was to tell me to remember where I'm from. To never lose sight of yourself. And there have been a couple times where I felt I lost sight of myself. And whenever I look at it, it reminds me. Many people have different tattoos that are like that. And I think it's always good to get tattoos of the things you love. Yeah, get a tattoo of family members. Get a tattoo of your favorite band. Get a tattoo with your favorite book quote. Do what you want. And then I have another one, which was the artwork for Somewhere in the Stratosphere, the acoustic and live concerts. It was two concerts, one at Washington City, I think, and the other one was at Kansas City. The Kansas City one was the acoustic set. But the reason why I got that tattoo is remind me that there's still life out there. Like, never stop living. That's my symbolism to it. And it kind of looks like a phoenix, so it can symbolize my rebirth almost. Because whenever I was going through so much stuff throughout 2017 and 2018, and my friends were there to help me, it really helped. And I saw new things in life. And I stopped I tried to lessen my antisocialness a little bit, but I wanted to do more things with them because I was growing comfortable, and they helped me a lot, so I applied them. Summer of 2018, I was definitely going through a lot of stuff because I had to deal with some matters back in my hometown, and there was all this. So this one girl who was married and pregnant that got attracted to me, and that's bad. Like, I don't know how she just did. I was just trying to be nice. I haven't made a song about this. I was just trying to be nice because I try to be nice about everybody. She was showing me respect. She was showing some kindness. So I reciprocate. I'm that type of dude. And I'd be friendly. And the thing is, I don't catch on to signals because, you know, I'm dumb when it comes to relationships and shit. I'm dumb whenever any girl tries to flirt with me. I'm oblivious. And she flirted with me, so she basically did cheat on her husband. Because flirting does count as cheating. And there's all that, but then suddenly she just randomly had a bitch fit on me. And I kind of had a little bit of anger, which I should have just not cared, because, you know, it was stupid anyways. But I had a bit of, I think the anger was more about me, like, because it was the one time for the first time in a while that I was kind of getting some attention from people that were not my friends or family. So I had some anger that I needed to dispose of. So I went with Shinedown. Like, before I got obsessed with Shinedown, my anger was in bad places. Like, I was always hacking at a dead tree with a hatchet, which is not always a great thing. Which I no longer hack at a tree. I mean, it's not dead, but at one point I was hacking a dead tree. But I also have a large respect for life, so I don't go hacking at trees anymore. That doesn't make me a tree hugger. It just means I'm more connected to nature a little bit. I guess, I don't know. It's just one of those things about me being a pacifist and whatnot. So I try to make my anger something that is not going to harm the environment around me. But Shinedown is that thing that I have an emotional connection to. With all the shit that I've had to go through, with all this journey that I've made, all of this progress, I would not have made this without my friends and Shinedown. Because the reason why I also connected with Shinedown is because the members, they also acknowledge that they're human and they try to connect with their fan base. That's what I love, because they're always opening up about who they are. Like, they're not afraid to show who they are. They show their deepest flaws and whatnot. They don't treat themselves as superhuman or invincible. They just are four guys that love to make music and want to help others. And that really connected with me whenever it mattered. And I connected with them. So ever since, my life has been better because of Shinedown. And you're probably thinking it's lame of me to be saying all this shit, and you're probably not going to care about my past or my family history or the problems with my mental state. But other people who are looking for a reason to keep on fighting and keep on living, hopefully they'll find some kind of inspiration from this episode. Because, like I said, we need mental health awareness. Because there's always life out there. And if you're living a life where it's just absolute hell and you can never seem to feel happiness, but that's a sign you have to leave it. Ever since I've been bouncing between home and academia, I have really had the time of my life because I've been able to really expand myself. Like I said, Shannon's been there to help me. It's mainly ever been since the new. Well, it's been since 2015 that I've been hooked, and I was good on Threat Survival. It was that one album, Attention, Attention, that has always kept me going. It keeps me fighting and whatnot, even whenever I feel that there's nothing left. And there are probably going to be some assholes that are just who are just going to try and comment to say that I should kill myself or something, which they can screw right off. They can go to hell. So here's the thing, that's an asshole thing to say, honestly. I think, and like I said, people gotta stop being assholes about bands. Like, it's not just Shinedown that people are assholes about. They also tend to be assholes about Foo Fighters, Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Offspring, Green Day. I mean, I've had my fair share of posts going against Green Day, but that's more of a political thing. I don't hate their music. They've got some good music, like Still Breathing, Revolution Radio, Stay the Night, Sweet 16, yada, yada, yada. But everyone should have that band that they can fall back on when they don't feel comfortable discussing stuff with friends or whatnot, or they just need a place to vent without feeling like they're crazy. Like, everyone deserves that. And no person is better than another. We're all human. We're all equal. Some may have it better than others, but we all have a hell to fight. And so I mainly stress mental health. And, like, I never try to act like I'm better than everyone. Sure, I come off as a little bit egotistical to some of my friends, but it's completely unintentional. And I will never treat a person as subhuman. There have been people who wronged me, but I give the people who have wronged me a second chance because Christian ideology. And so, yeah, I urge you guys who are listening, never judge another person for what you may not be going through. Never judge a person's musical interests. Never judge a person for being who they are. Like I said, some people try to get after me because, like, of my views on things, but I'm not putting down a person for who they are. I'm just stating with the ideology I disagree with. I'm not putting them down. So like I said, I've got so many friends that I largely disagree with, but we still get along. We agree to disagree and we move on. Because senior year of high school, whenever I was section leader in band, there was this one member I disagreed with, but we moved on from that and we made quite a bit of progress. Because, I don't try to be a dick to people. Like, I legitimately don't unless the person's being a dick to me. I'll be an asshole to some of the guys in the channel, but that's just to be fun. Like, we do it out of fun. We know we're doing it out of fun because we have a general respect for each other. But yeah, thing is, respect people for being themselves. Respect them for being unique. I've got both family and friends who tell me, like, what if you're going to regret those tattoos? What if you're going to regret that band later? I'm like, the thing is, it's not about the band. It's about the personal connection and what you're going through whenever you get the tattoo. It's my obsession with the band is never going to change because I'm an adult and things are starting to solidify. Like, there are many things I like that will never change. Because the music I used to listen to, I cringe at. But nowadays, the music that I listen to, I just generally like. And usually it is scientifically proven through psychology and whatnot that as time goes on, your tastes in different things become more religion. You're not as expansive anymore, so you just stick with the same thing. So I'm kind of sticking to my guns with rock, even though I also have a little bit of an expansion to K-pop, which no one should make fun of me for that because there are so many people who listen to freaking mumble rap. But I only listen to K-pop because I got freaking hooked on it by my cousin. God damn it. Good Christian channel. Okay, I'm done ranting about my obsessions. I've repeated myself a lot. But remember, mental health awareness. In the future, I'll probably be talking about my views on climate change, maybe some other stuff. Also, like I said, episode 15, which will probably be next week, that we'll be recording. I will be joined by Hal, John, and Spencer for a special 4-person panel discussion on religion and science. And it's going to be big. Well, on our terms, because this is the most guests I've had on my podcast, even though this would kind of be even though this has been the same amount of people for the Broad Culture podcast, but this is my podcast, Dash's Call. So yeah, we're going to be talking about religion and science. I wanted to talk about it earlier with Spencer, but we decided to expand it to those of us on the channel, so we will be talking about that. And so yeah, it's going to be good. I know, like, I kind of like doing politics, but I also kind of like showing like who I am with this podcast. And so yeah, also next month April is Autism Awareness Month, so I'm going to be doing an episode on that in the future. Okay, so there's that. Remember, mental health awareness. I reiterate, and I digress. So this was Dash's Call. If you enjoyed the episode, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.